life. Or life, Kaylee, please. Kaylee.
I'm definitely staying up for some time. I'm definitely staying awake the whole time.
Today is Yoga Nidra. So the yoga of deep sleep, the yoga of rest. The point of this is to find and eliminate stress and tension in the whole system. Try to let go of the concept of clearing your mind or any of the shoulds, and just try to have an experience. And if your mind travels off and wanders off and you get lost or you feel like you fell asleep, give yourself some patience and some kindness. Just try to sit with us, return to my voice whenever you can. We don't leave you alone in this practice very much. It's a guided practice, so I talk a lot throughout the practice. There are only short, brief pauses. Excuse me. Most importantly, comfort. So start in a position, find a position with lots and lots and lots of props that you can easily release tension in the physical body at the very least. So Kaylee has a large cushion in underneath her and a bolster in under her knees. Her back is on the ground. Her feet are touching the ground. She's covered in a nice heavy blanket. The heavy blanket is really helpful, especially even if you feel like you're warm enough in the room. Your body temperature does lower as you start to release, and you want that extra protection, that extra warmth. And the weight of the blanket is very nice. It helps you draw down into the ground. It helps feel comforting. So find a position that your body can be in, extremely comfortable. Traditionally, it is on your back, but if you are more comfortable in some other position, you feel more protective and curled up in a ball or on your face, flat on your stomach, take whatever position is comfortable for you, feels right for you. Try to let go of the concept of somebody else's rules and find what works for you. Get to know your own self and what works for you. So as you start to bring in your props and land in the room, take a lot of time to notice the sounds in your room. Notice the sounds that you may hear through our speakers. Oftentimes the rock climbers come in about halfway through, so notice that there will be some sounds from our speakers also that perhaps you may be able to hear. And this is part of turning off your fight or flight. So you get to know the sounds and try to accept them as just sounds rather than whether they should or should not be there. Rather than trying to overly influence your own environment and create some kind of perfect Zen yoga room, try to find ways to be comfortable in whatever is present, and allowing yourself to know that sounds are going to happen and that we don't need to be fearful of the sounds. And take in a good look of your room. Make sure you know where you are so you can, again, turn off that fight or flight sensation. Tell yourself where you are. Tell yourself that in this moment your needs are met and that you can rest and switch off, take a little break. Start to find what your breath is doing in the body, noticing if as soon as we mention the breath, you begin to force it, begin to be a little more forceful, intentional with your breath. See if you can start to just think about your breath rolling in and rolling out naturally as if you were asleep. What pattern would your breath have if you were completely at rest right now, asleep? You can just soften your eyes closed. Begin to look at the back of your eyelids. So starting to really soften your eyes, soften the muscles of your face. If you have an intention or a vow, truth vow that you're working with, feel free to insert it now. Feel free to think about your little sentence, your promise to yourself. An intention is a very short, positive statement, something that you say to yourself that you believe in your truest self already true. You're just trying to reaffirm it, to let your body absorb the message. For example, if I would like to work with health, I would say to myself, I am healthy. It's always in positive. You're whispering this to yourself. And say it the way you would to a dear friend. Say it the way you would to someone who you love and care about, with conviction and compassion. And then start to really land in the physical body. Notice the parts of your body that are touching support. Notice the feel of your clothing, the weight of the blanket. And almost as if you're giving your muscles permission to release their burden, start to feel like your bones are landing into the support of the ground below you. And perhaps even taking another moment to say to yourself, right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. We'll begin practice with a rotation of consciousness, practicing becoming fully aware of our own physical body, resting our mind in one single part of the body and then rotating it around the body slowly, filling up your awareness to just this place, giving your mind a single point focus, and remembering that it's a practice, that each time that you come to this is just a practice. So begin with the right hand. Locate the right hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the right hand, back of the right hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the right rib cage, a rib at a time. Find the space between the rib cage and the hip. Right hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, ankle, heel, arch of the right foot, ball of the right foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Become entirely aware of the right side of the body, softening in and landing into the right side of the body. Gently shift your awareness over to the left hand. Locate the left hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the left hand, back of the left hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the rib cage a rib at a time. Locate the space between the rib cage and the hip. Left hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, ankle, heel, arch of the left foot, ball of the left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Land all of your awareness on the left side of the body. Softening in and relaxing in, becoming entirely aware of the left side of the body. Gently shift your awareness down to the soles of the feet. From the soles of the feet, find the backs of the legs. Find the hips, the low back, the whole back, shoulders, arms. And then bring all of your awareness to the crown of the head. The space that's soft when a baby is born, right in the center of the head, crown of the head. Imagine a softening here, as if from this location, the skin of the entire physical body can begin to soften, as if it trickling down from the crown of the head slowly comes down over the skin of the face, down the skin of the neck, across the skin of the chest and down the arms, softening the skin on the hands and fingers. And slowly trickling down the torso. Down the legs, softening the skin around the knees, skin around the ankles. Skin around the feet. Soften the skin on the tops of the feet, the toes. And then return your awareness to the soles of the feet. And then from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head, begin to connect with the sense of the energy that moves throughout the body. The pulsating energy of life force that moves throughout the body. And think of the connection from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head. And perhaps beginning to sense the sense of energy just above the layer of the skin of the entire physical body. The energetic layer of the body. Imagine it pulsating freely, moving without holding patterns or misaligned bones or scars, just pulsating freely and freshly throughout the entire body. And then we'll play with intentionally moving fresh energy through the body. So bring all your awareness to the sole of the left foot. Imagine you could draw fresh energy in through the sole of the left foot, sweep fresh energy up the left leg, across the hips, and then sweep out any tension and things no longer needed out through the sole of the right foot. In through the left foot, up through the left leg, across the hips, down the right leg, and out through the sole of the right foot. Whatever helps you connect to this energy path, you can imagine it a color or temperature. You can imagine a ball of energy moving up, across, and down. Imagine this fresh energy connecting, moving, sweeping away what is no longer needed, and bringing in fresh energy, fresh life. And gently see if you can switch the path of your energy channel. This time drawing in energy, fresh energy through the sole of the right foot, up the right leg, across the hips, down the left leg and out the sole of the left foot. Sweeping in fresh energy in through the sole of the right foot, up the right leg, across the hips, down the left leg and out the sole of the left foot. Bringing in fresh life, free of holding patterns, freeing up anything no longer needed, letting go of any energetic tension, any holding patterns. Bringing in fresh and sweeping away what's no longer needed. And gently bring your awareness to your right hand, and this time we're going to draw in fresh energy through the right hand, up the right arm, across the chest, down the left arm and out through the left hand. Sweeping in fresh, in through the right hand, up the right arm, across the chest, down the left arm and out through the left hand. And then gently see if you can switch that energy path, bringing in the energy through the left hand, up the left arm, across the chest, down the right arm, and out through the right hand. Sweeping in fresh in through the left hand, up the left arm, across the chest, down the right arm, and out through the palm of the right hand. And then slowly and gently draw all of your awareness to the very center of the mind. As if you could follow the spinal cord up and land right at the meeting place where the spine meets the brain. Rest here and allow space for whatever is present in the mind. Noticing that you can notice your thoughts. And then perhaps noticing a little space in between the thoughts. And then we'll move on to the practice of opposites. So begin to invite into the physical body the experience of feeling very, very heavy. Feel the weight of the bones in the body. Perhaps even imagining the limbs are becoming filled with lead. Feeling the sensation of heaviness, feeling the sensation of gravity drawing you down into the earth. Your legs become heavy, your feet, your toes are heavy, your arms are heavy, your hands are heavy. fingertips are heavy. Even the weight of your hair feels heavy. Feeling heavier and heavier and more deeply grounded into the earth. And then gently begin to invite in the opposite sensation. Sensation of lightness. Beginning to imagine that your entire body is becoming filled with air. Feeling softer and softer and lighter and lighter. Your toes are light. Legs are light. Arms are light. Your fingers are light. Feeling lighter and lighter and softer. Perhaps even beginning to bring in the sensation that you could drift away on the softest breeze. And then gently invite in the possibility of feeling both of these sensations at the same time. The sensation of lightness and the sensation of heaviness at the same time. And then return to that center point in the mind, again allowing space for whatever is present here to be present here. See if you can land a little more in the center of the mind, as if a little further away from the thoughts and the firing of the mind. As if the thoughts are like a TV screen on the back of your eyelids, and you are something more than your thoughts, resting right in the center of the brain, looking back at the thoughts. resisting the temptation to spiral away and get caught away in the cognitive firings of the brain, and relaxing in and watching the brain do as it does. And we'll take a journey with our imagination. Trying to use our imagination as a wonderful visual tool. Paint in the details of the scenery as I explain it as much as you can. Making the details as vivid as if you were really there. Begin to imagine yourself floating on your cushion, as if the mat, the cushion, whatever it is you're laying on is like a magic carpet. It's beginning to float and lift. And then as you float and lift, you begin to leave behind all that is present in the physical body, all the worries, all the fears. Taking a little break, going on a little adventure, you look back and see your physical body resting there. We drift more and more slowly up. Begin to see the houses, the towns, getting further and further and further away as you slowly drift away from all the noise, all the rushing. Houses become smaller and smaller, cars become smaller and smaller, the rush and the bustle becomes further and further away. And as you ride your magic cushion, take yourself on a journey over the world, over the landscapes, painting in details, rivers and mountains and trees. Being so far above the distractions of towns and cities, and bustling, take yourself across nature, unexplored wide open spaces. and peek back up towards the sky and notice that you're far, far above the clouds. And that nighttime is starting to fall. The stars are coming out. And you're resting safely on your cushion far above the worries of the earth below. Peeking up at the majestic sky filled with stars, twinkling. More stars than you ever imagined possible. Notice the darkness around the stars and notice that it is not darkness, that it too is filled with life and an energy. And as thoughts or distractions come in to disturb your picturing of the stars and the twinkling of the stars, imagine them just falling from your head back down towards the earth and repainting in your picture of the sky, the stars above, unpolluted by the light of humanity, far away from the earth. Imagine what you could see. Perhaps you can paint in some planets in the distance. Maybe you see a shooting star or many. Maybe you can see a comet. Connect with the immense galaxy before you, spreading on further and further and further away, so far you can't possibly imagine. Perhaps you can begin to imagine the stars forming shapes and pictures like constellations. And connecting again with the concept of being far, far away from the distractions of the earth and the world that we exist in. And pondering all that is outside of our world, the vastness of space. Pondering the life energy within space. And pondering the fact that the particles within space are some of the same particles that exist within our own life force. And each time you lose the picture of your vast space and many stars, bring that thought to mind and imagine it dropping slowly down towards the earth, far, far away from you. We're turning to painting in your beautiful picture of space and you floating far away from the earth. And then we're slowly going to draw back down to the earth as if we're drawing back down slowly, floating down slowly, and taking with us some of the magic, the vastness of space. As we slowly travel back down, see the cities below us. See the bustling of the world, humanity. And slowly returning to our own present space and time. Feeling a little more connected to the world and nature. And then we'll move on to the process of rapid visualization. It's a practice of seeing an image, observing it without judgment, and letting it pass through the mind. So trying to allow a visual image to come in without the cognitive brain asking its questions and trying to file it in its correct location. See it, observe it, and let it pass. We'll begin with a single tiny ant. The dark side of the moon. Leaves blowing in the wind. A herd of elephants. Single candle in a very dark room. Unicorn. Children playing in a playground. Deep dark forest. Diving into the deep blue ocean. Field of roses. The face of a mentor. Standing on top of a tall mountain. A sacred temple. People singing in prayer. Sitting in meditation. See yourself sitting in meditation. Observe yourself sitting in meditation. And then before coming too deeply back from this state of rest, return to your intention, your truth vow from the start of practice. Begin whispering it to yourself as if planting a seed in fertile soil, knowing it will take root and grow. Say it with kindness, compassion, and conviction as if you know it already true. And speak to yourself the way that you would to a loved one. And then staying away from the cognitive head and tuning into the intuition of the physical body, begin to just feel the fingers and toes and the places where your body is touching support. And without thinking too much, take any stretches, wiggles, lengthening of the body. Start to trust in the body to move in the way that it needs to move in. It's been at rest for a long time, so this is a wonderful time for things to reassess and reset without the brain getting in the way. So stretch and click and creak and see what releases. And then very slowly bring a knee in at a time towards the chest. Curl up into a ball and make your way to a fetal position. Curling up in a fetal position and taking a moment to imagine yourself wrapped in a ball of protection. As you slowly return to present moment, connect with the purpose of this pose, the meaning of this pose, the fetal position, taking us back to a time in the womb when all of our needs were met. We had not judged ourselves as negative or positive. We were simply a spark of life. And as we come to this pose, we can tune in and remember that that spark of life exists within us, unchanged by our experiences. And as you lay here, imagine yourself wrapped in this ball of protection and compassion, perhaps imagining some of the barriers that we place around our heart wall. Some of these walls of protection, maybe softening. Knowing that these walls of protection serve a purpose of keeping the world out, keeping our heart guarded from the world, but they also prevent us from connecting within to this sacred space. Our truest, most inner secret layer, our bliss layer. And that opening up our heart wall and allowing this bliss layer to shine through, allowing our heart to shine open, does not mean that we believe that nothing will ever go wrong if we lead from our heart. It means that we know how to connect within and recharge into this space when things do go wrong, that we have our own backs and we can get through. And that we can remember that we're connected to something greater than just ourselves. And that each stumbling block is just a little part of our whole story, our whole existence. Slowly blink open your eyes if they're still closed. peeking slowly and adjusting your eyes to the room slowly and carefully, kindly. Taking in the sounds of your room, landing. And then slowly make your way up to a seated position. And bring your hands to prayer at heart space and connect to your center again. So bringing our hands to prayer at heart space is meeting our left and right sides in front of our heart as if accepting ourselves as whole and complete precisely as we are. The wholeness of our being, all of the layers, the mental, the energetic, the physical, the ego, the bliss layer, all part of us. Our spiritual selves as a whole being. And the things that we are perhaps proud of and the things that we are perhaps ashamed of, all part of this whole being, the whole story. And that we were always growing and changing. We are not broken. We are whole just the way we are. Honor your inner guide, your inner spirit. And it is only learning to honor our own inner spirit and our own inner guide and give compassion to ourselves for our mistakes and our stumbles, that we're able to send it out into our lives, into our community, out to others that we care about and out to others that we may meet. So as we finish practice today, sending out to anyone, be it someone you know, be it someone you can just imagine, be it a group of people, send out some of this strength and compassion forming in your own heart center. And whatever helps you imagine this group, this person, whoever is receiving this, perhaps wrapping them in a ball of energy, perhaps just picturing them and see them softening, their face softening, their posture softening, seeing them receiving a little compassion and kindness. Trying to send from the heart center and not the cognitive head. May we all know a little love, light, and a lot of connection, a lot of compassion. Thanks for joining us. So, as always, these practices, Kayla's still asleep. These practices can stir some stuff up sometimes when we're working through practices of cleansing and balancing throughout the layers. Things that are ready to be digested, ready to be processed can come to the surface. You may get an emotional wave, you may get some swirling thoughts. These things can happen, and it helps to ground down. So it can be as simple as grabbing some earth and holding it, going outside, connecting to nature, sitting, if you have a ritual of sitting in a place where you can sit where you feel comfort and calm. Just try to ground down and try to connect with allowing whatever is coming through, whether it's an emotion or a bunch of whirling thoughts, to just pass through. Trying not to restrict down and clamp down and understand, trying to let it flow, trying to let it pass, trying not to fight it. Try not to know all the answers. We don't need to know all the answers. We can let it go. We can let it flow through. And especially if it's some physical, nervous energy, maybe you want to laugh or cry for no reason, let it come. Let it be something that moves on through. And then if it gets particularly hard, grab some nature. Thanks, guys.
locked. Screen's locked. Oh, there it goes.